Welcome to the channel. If you love finding life-changing treasure in your spare change, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because your next coin could be worth a fortune. Let's go. Do not scroll past this video, because the 1975 Australian 50-cent coin sitting in your junk drawer might be worth more than your car. While most people assume old coins are only worth face value, a handful of rare errors from this specific year have sold for life-changing money. We're talking about the clamshell, the off-center strike, and the elusive proof coin that most collectors have never even seen in person. Here's exactly what to look for, and why you should empty that coin jar right now. The standard 1975 50-cent coin is nothing special at first glance. The Royal Australian Mint produced over 19 million of these 12-sided copper nickel coins, featuring the iconic coat of arms with the kangaroo and emu. In circulated condition, one of these is literally worth 50 cents. But here's where it gets interesting. In mint state, the value jumps. An MS-63 graded coin can fetch around $10.60, while an MS-65 pushes up to $54.30. And if you find a pristine MS-67, PCGias reports that number 1975 50-cent coin has ever been graded higher than MS-67, with only 32 coins ever receiving that top-tier designation. That level of scarcity makes serious collectors sit up and pay attention. But the real money isn't in perfect standard strikes, it's in the mistakes. Take the clamshell split planchet error, for example. This happens when a gas bubble gets trapped inside the metal strip before it's punched into a blank. When the minting press slams down with over 100 tons of force, the coin literally splits open like a cracked mussel shell, creating a bizarre two-part coin that looks like it exploded from the inside. A 1975 clamshell error recently sold through the purple penny, and while the exact price isn't public, these errors typically command premium prices in the hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on condition. Then there's the off-center strike, another mint error that can turn pocket change into a payday. Imagine a coin where the kangaroo and emu have been decapitated because the die struck 20% off center. That's exactly what happened to one 1975 50-cent piece graded PCGS MS-62 uncirculated. The coin left the Royal Australian Mint in a roll, completely uncirculated, but with the design violently shifted to one side. That specific error coin sold for a price that far exceeded its 50-cent face value, proving that sometimes the uglier the mistake, the prettier the profit. Here's something most people don't know. The 1975 proof coin is the secret gem of this year. The Mint produced only 23,000 proof versions of the 1975 50-cent coin, making them significantly rarer than the standard mintage of over 19 million. These proof coins were struck with specially polished dies and planchets, creating a mirror-like finish that standard coins don't have. In perfect condition, a 1975 proof 50-cent coin can command serious premiums from collectors who specialize in completing their proof sets. So, can any of this make you a millionaire? Let's be brutally honest about the value of this coin in millions. The total value of the 1975 Australian 50-cent coin in millions is zero. No known example of this coin has ever sold for even close to $1 million. The highest certified standard strikes top out around $85 for an MS-66. Even the rarest errors and proofs sell in the hundreds or low thousands, not millions. This isn't a 1930 Australian penny or a 1966 round 50-cent coin. It's not going to buy you a private island or an early retirement. But here's why you should still care. The 1975 50-cent coin represents the gateway into error coin collecting. For less than $100, you can own a piece of minting history, an off-center strike, a clamshell split, or a high-grade proof that most people overlook. And once you train your eye to spot these errors, you'll start noticing them in your change, in coin rolls, and at garage sales. The real treasure isn't the coin itself. It's the knowledge that turns 50 cents into $50. So go grab that jar of coins, find every 1975 50-cent piece you can, and examine it like a detective. Your first error coin might be hiding in plain sight. Now we are covering next coin. The 1976 Australian 50-cent coin is a fascinating piece of numismatic history, but its value varies dramatically based on rarity and condition. While a standard 1976 50-cent coin from the Royal Australian Mint has a mintage of over 27 million and is typically worth only its face value of 50 cents. A rare minting error can transform this pocket change into a fortune. Let's be honest, you probably got a jar of old coins sitting in the cupboard, and you're about to go digging through it after this video. But before you do, you need to know what turns a standard 1976 50-cent piece into a five-figure payday. The secret isn't in the date alone, it's in the blunder. These coins were supposed to be struck on a 31.5 millimeter copper nickel planchet. However, a few of them were accidentally fed into the press with the smaller, thinner 28.5 millimeter planchet intended for a 20-cent piece. Imagine the chaos at the mint that day. When a 50-cent die crushes a 20-cent blank, the metal doesn't just fill the center, it flows violently outward. The result looks like a tiny satellite dish with a thick raised rim that shouldn't be there. The design of the coat of arms and the Queen's portrait gets squished, distorted, and forced to the very edge. It doesn't look like a normal coin, it looks like a mistake. In the world of collecting, that specific freakish look is worth serious money. A pristine example of this error, graded MS64 by PCGS, can easily command a price tag exceeding $10,000. However, the absolute holy grail for 1976 collectors is a coin so rare that most dealers will never see one in their lifetime: the clamshell split planchet error. Imagine a coin where the metal is paper thin, almost transparent, splitting open like a cracked mussel shell. This happens when the metal strip has a gas bubble trapped inside before it's punched out. When the 150-ton press hits it, the coin literally explodes internally. Finding a full, intact 1976 clamshell error is like finding a needle in a haystack. And depending on the grade, its value can reach several $1,000s on its own. So what is the absolute value of this coin in millions? You might be shocked to learn that no standard 1976 Australian 50-cent coin is worth millions. However, if you are holding the wrong coin, specifically the 50 cent struck on a 20-cent planchet or the clamshell, you are holding a piece of metal that could be worth tens of thousands of dollars to the right collector. Its value in millions? Zero. Its value as a rare error? Priceless. It's a reminder that in coin collecting, the mistakes are often worth more than the perfect ones. Now go check your change. Check your spare change right now, because a 1979 Australian 50-cent coin could be sitting in your wallet worth thousands of times its face value. While most of these coins are only worth 50 cents, a tiny mistake hidden behind an emu's head transforms this ordinary piece into a collector's holy grail. We're talking about the double bar error, and depending on the condition, you might be holding a coin that's worth more than a week's groceries, a fancy dinner out, or even a mortgage payment. Here's what makes the 1979 50-cent coin so special. The Royal Australian Mint produced nearly 25 million of these dodecagonal copper nickel coins that year. Most featured a standard coat of arms design, an emu and a kangaroo flanking a shield, but a small number were struck with a die that had a critical flaw: two horizontal bars behind the emu's head. Those bars were part of the original design, but were removed because they weakened the die. Someone accidentally grabbed the wrong die in 1979, and bam, a mint error was born. The crazy part? This mistake didn't just happen once. The double bar die was unintentionally deployed in both 1979 and 1980 when no other dies were available. No one knows exactly how many of these error coins were minted, but they're rare enough that collectors actively hunt for them. PCGS has only graded a handful at higher levels. Just 12 coins have received the top MS66 designation. That scarcity is what drives the value through the roof. So what's a 1979 double bar 50-cent coin actually worth? In average circulated condition, you're looking at $3 to $40. Not life-changing, but a nice little bonus. But if you find one in mint state, the numbers get exciting. A double bar graded MS66 recently sold for $106.25, which is more than double the standard catalog value of around $48. That's over 200 times face value for a coin that started as 50 cents. But here's where the answer to the million-dollar question comes in. Can this coin make you a millionaire? The honest answer is no. not even close. The most valuable 1979 double bar 50-cent coin ever sold fetched just over $100. That means the total value of this coin in millions is zero. It's worth thousands of times its face value, but it's not going to buy you a Lamborghini or a beach house. However, don't let that discourage you from checking your change, because here's the secret that most people don't know. The 1979 double bar is the entry-level error. It's the gateway drug of Australian coin collecting. Once you start looking for these, you'll notice other errors. Off-center strikes, wrong planchets, double dies. That can be worth tens of thousands. Some Australian error coins have sold for over $50,000. And a handful of ultra-rare Australian coins have broken the $1 million mark at auction. The real value of the 1979 double bar isn't in the dollars it can fetch. It's in training your eye to spot the extraordinary hiding in plain sight. So grab that jar of coins, flip every 1979 50-cent piece you find, and look behind the emu's head. Those two little bars could be your first step into a world where pocket change becomes treasure. And who knows? The next coin you find might just be the one that's actually worth $1 million. That 50-cent piece in your old coin tin? It might just be the rarest Australian decimal coin you've never heard of. While most people know about the silver 1966 round 50, the 1969 version is the quiet overachiever that serious collectors have been stalking for decades. You see, 1969 was a turning point after the silver 1966 coin was pulled because its melt value exceeded face value. The mint introduced this 12-sided copper nickel version, and in that very first year of the new shape, something extraordinary happened. First, let's talk about the standard coin. The Royal Australian Mint produced over 14 million of these in 1969, which sounds like a lot. But here's the kicker. Finding one in high grade is brutally difficult. A perfect MS-65 will set you back about $142. And if you somehow find an MS-66, that value jumps to $250. For a coin you could technically spend at a vending machine. That is a return of 50,000%. Not bad for pocket fluff, but the standard issue is just the appetizer. The main course is the legend of the 1969 double obverse. This is the coin that breaks people's brains. A 50-cent piece with Queen Elizabeth II's portrait on both sides. No kangaroo, no emu, just two queens staring back at you. Experts believe these weren't just random errors, but were deliberately struck as trials to test different head sizes or die alignments. And a handful escaped into the wild. Finding one of these in circulation is the stuff of dreams. And then there is the unicorn, the 1969 Yarralumla PNC. Back in 1969, a company called Newfield Associates took 2,000 special blanks and minted coins specifically for a philatelic numismatic cover, a fancy collector's envelope. Out of those 2,000, only about 1,330 were sealed away. The rest, they were dumped into circulation or sold singly. Today, finding a problem-free example is a nightmare. And the finest specimens graded by PCGS are worth a fortune. It is the ultimate insider coin that most people walk right past. So, we have to ask the $1 million question. Is this the coin that pays off your house? Let's look at the hard numbers. The value of this coin in millions is zero. The highest graded 1969 standard strikes barely cracked 3 figures. Even the legendary Yarralumla, while hitting thousands of dollars, isn't touching 6 figures, let alone 7. There is no record of a 1969 Australian 50-cent coin ever selling for $1 million. Does that mean you should ignore your change jar? Absolutely not. The value here isn't just about becoming an instant millionaire. It is about catching a wave. The 1969 era coins and rare varieties are still wildly undervalued compared to older silver coins. A $250 coin today might be a $2,500 coin in 10 years as the next generation of collectors hunts for these transitional oddities. So grab that jar, flip over every 1969 50 you find, and look for the impossible. Look for the double queen. Look for that specific satiny finish of the Yarralumla. You probably won't find $1 million, but you might just find the coolest error coin Australia ever made. And that is a story worth a lot more than 50 cents.